Okay. Yeah. Okay, annyeong. It's the first time Carrie and I travelled overseas in 2 years. We decided to return to South Korea, where we spent our honeymoon. This time, we brought along our 3-year-old son, Zachary, on his first holiday. Was it a great idea? Not really. There were plenty of tantrums and meltdowns, which required a lot of incentives to pacify him. Then, there's South Korea's amenities and public transportation system that are not stroller-friendly. But what about the sights and scenery? Those must surely be worth it, right? I'll let you decide. In this vlog, I will share some of the lessons we learned the hard way and answer the question, should you bring your kids to South Korea? Let's begin. Okay, bye, thank you.
Okay, enjoy, Helen. Alright, Carrie.
Though there were only 4 of us, we went to the airport in 2 cars because we had plenty of luggage as well as a stroller. Zach, though, was very impatient and refused to wait in line. Hello. The novelty of being at the airport kept him distracted for a while. Then, we told him that our bags were being loaded onto the plane. This triggered him. We'll take it out once we come down from the plane, okay? We go inside the plane, we sleep in the plane, then we take the luggage out, we take all our bags out, okay? It devolved into a full-blown meltdown where we had to carry him into the plane kicking and screaming.
Hi, Mommy. How's the meltdown just now?
He calmed down after we gave him some snacks. Eventually, Zach was happily watching pre-downloaded videos on the iPad. 2 hours after takeoff, at 1 a.m, Zach finally fell asleep. The next morning, we arrived at Incheon International Airport. The last time I was here, I was with my friends on our way to Mongolia. I remember that there was a food court downstairs, so that was where we had our breakfast. Zach, on the other hand, insisted on having ice cream.
That's all he give you.
Yay, good job. Before coming to Seoul, we booked 3 pocket Wi-Fi devices on Klook, as well as 4 72-hour Discover Seoul passes, which gave us access to a whole bunch of different attractions for free. The passes include RX Airport Express train tickets to Seoul Station. While on the train, Zach reverted to his usual naughty self, refusing to sit still and running up and down the car. But since it was only a minor inconvenience, we let him have his fun. Once we arrived at Seoul Station, we reloaded our passes to use them as transit cards, then waited a good 15 minutes for just 1 elevator, and transported 6 luggages, 1 stroller and 1 sleeping toddler down these steps. Not fun. Once we got to Myeongdong, we bought some breakfast for Zach. He's so excited.
You want milk?
Cold milk. Then made our way to our hotel. Yeah, so somebody looks like he's having the time of his life, just enjoying the mattress, the bed here, jumping on the bed. Yeah.
Moments later.
He immediately started jumping on the beds again. Yep. What a surprise. Never learning his lesson.
Can you call me? I don't tell you.
Later, we used the Kakao Map app to find our way to our first attraction, Aqua Planet at 63 Square. To get there, we had to ride a bus. And that shiny building is 63 Square. Unfortunately, Zach was still asleep. So here's one of the lessons we learned on this trip. Don't plan it solely around entertaining your toddler, as you may get disappointed by their response. You don't want to feel like you've wasted a vacation day doing an activity you don't 100% enjoy. Anyway, Zach eventually woke up, so I wouldn't call it a complete waste. We spent the rest of the evening wandering the nearby Yeouido Hangang Park. Initially, we wanted to catch the Eland River cruise, which was included in the Discover Seoul Pass, but decided to just take it easy instead, especially after an epic day of dealing with Zach's meltdown prior to the flight and the exhausting journey from the airport to Myeongdong. But Zach's mood seemed to be getting better, so it should be smooth sailing from now on.
Boing, boing.
Oh, how wrong we were. Our plan for day 2 was to go to the Times Square Mall to visit a petting zoo. What you don't see was our difficulty getting to the train station. A 10-minute walk on Kakao Map turned into 30 minutes in real life because we couldn't figure out how to get to an entrance with an elevator. So that's another lesson. Expect to take twice as long for your commute and plan accordingly. The petting zoo was also included in the Discover Seoul Pass, so I just presented the passes at the counter to receive our entry wristbands. We were immediately greeted by animals. Although he became scared after a while, and mostly just threw the food into the water. In the next section, Carrie and I felt like Disney princesses feeding the tiny birds. But somehow, Zach was having none of it. Look, Zachary. What surprised us most was that even when he saw guinea pigs, his favourite animal, he wasn't interested in feeding them. Instead, he just kept insisting on going home. One tantrum later, and we were out of the zoo, exactly an hour after we got in. Then, Zach fell asleep. There were a couple of restaurants we wanted to try, but all of them didn't allow strollers inside. So we bought supermarket food, sat on a bench, and had our lunch. I guess the lesson here is, if you have a toddler, be prepared to change your plans at any time. Not just mentally, but physically as well. Because you may just have to carry the stroller everywhere. Later, Zachary threw another massive tantrum, crying on Myeongdong Street and wanting fries from McDonald's. Then, he saw a kid with a balloon, and he started crying for a balloon as well. But when we wanted to go and buy a pack of balloons for him, he would cry for McDonald's. And when we approached McDonald's, he would cry for balloons. And on it went. Eventually, we managed to buy both and he calmed down.
Daddy cannot blow.
Daddy won't blow. You want Daddy to blow for you now?
Daddy cannot blow.
Daddy can.
No.
You don't want Daddy to blow, okay, then Daddy won't blow.
Keep.
Let him keep, let him keep.
Okay, you can keep.
Papa keep for you.
When we got back to the hotel, it was like the tantrum never happened at all.
Good night.
Good night.
Then, I filled up the bathtub for Zach, so that Carrie and Pawpaw could do some shopping.
1, 2.
Are you having fun, Zachary?
Yeah.
Say yes.
Yeah.
Chat.
Oh my God, she died. Call everyone. What's the number?
Look, it's Mommy and Papa, they're back and they brought food.
Then, at 11 p.m,
Okay, so this boy, he is too bored being in the room. So I'm gonna take him out. Press down.
Press up.
No, press down, we're going down. Press 1. Press number 1. Good job. Wait for the cars to pass. Where are you going, Zach? Do you think it's cute?
Yeah. Can I go?
No, it's closed already, Zach. All the shops are closed.
we were only out for 20 minutes, but I think Zach really enjoyed himself.
No, somebody there.
How about you press the bell? Can you reach it? Hello, you're home.
You're home, is it cold? Is it very cold outside?
Okay, bye-bye, good night.
Good night, Mom, Daddy.
That's the door.
No, you
Bye,
wait, bye-bye.
Daddy.
Bye-bye, Daddy.
Bye-bye, close the door, good night.
It seemed like Zach's mood was getting better, and today we're visiting a theme park, Lotte World. I'm sure he would enjoy his time here, right? Well, keep on watching to find out how mistaken we were.
Please use the ticket booth located in B1 floor.
From Southgate, take the escalator to B1 floor. Now let me explain to you guys why there's a problem for us who have strollers. They have freaking barriers blocking us from going down. Sometimes South Korea really blows my mind. Again, our tickets were covered under the Discover Seoul Pass, which were almost half the actual price. Seriously, if you're ever visiting Seoul, check those passes out. We went straight for the children's rides in the outdoor section of Lotte World. However, we completely did not expect his reaction at the merry-go-round. Thank goodness for the seatbelt, otherwise he would have jumped out of the ride. No. Look, Mommy and Papa. Aren't you having fun? Isn't it fun? Do you want to ride it again?
Okay. Yes, we will move.
Following that meltdown, we went back inside into the largest indoor theme park in the world. We took a break to eat, then tried our luck again to see if he would be interested in any of the indoor rides. Sometimes he would go all the way to the front of the queue. Then right as we were about to board, he would run out again, crying. Remember what I said earlier about not planning your vacation around entertaining your toddler? After almost 5 hours, we finally left the theme park, having gone on only 2 rides. In the evening, we met up with my friend Youngin and her fiancée Dana for dinner at a Japanese fusion restaurant.
As requested by Youngin. Of all things, she wanted famous Amos.
By the time this video is out, they're already married, so congrats to the newlyweds.
Then you put it on the stove. Then it will cook.
And also thanks to Youngin for the meal. She actually raced and beat me to the cashier. It's an Asian thing. After dinner, we went to a cafe where they tried navigating the Lotte Rent-A-Car website in Korean to see if they might have better luck than me. But nope, the website said we had to go rent in person. I guess that's what I'm doing tomorrow.
Bye! Bye the camera! Bye who?
Today, we are heading to Chuncheon, a city an hour and a half away. The original plan was to take the train from Myeongdong to Chuncheon, then pick up a car that I had already booked online there. But after our experience with public transportation the last few days, it made more sense to just get a car in Seoul and drive it to Chuncheon. And it needed to be a big car to fit all our luggages plus the stroller. I went to their outlet next to Seoul Station where we saw online that they may have a car in that size. And the good news was that they had that car. The bad news, they didn't have a child car seat. So I went to the Lotte Mart and Lotte department store in Seoul Station to look for a child seat, but they didn't have any. I told Carrie about our problem, so she also searched in Myeongdong. The good news, she found the child seats. The bad news, they were very expensive, and we didn't have time to look for alternatives. In the end, we decided to forgo the child seat. Apparently enforcement isn't very strong in Korea, but if we could do it all over again, we would have brought our own child seat from home and maybe even renting a car from the airport, heading straight to Chuncheon, skipping Seoul altogether. Anyway, I got the car. It was way more expensive than I expected, but oh my gosh, the car was so sexy. A Kia Mojave with the latest bells and whistles, but you still needed an app to find your way around. I used Naver, no longer Kakao, because that was what Youngin and Dana recommended. Anyway, we're now in Chuncheon, where we are staying at a pension, kind of like a bed and breakfast, but without the breakfast.
Alright, we're at our destination. Woo! La Jolla Pension. I think he's gonna wake up soon. Zachary gonna jump on the bed. Hey Zachary!
You have to follow him because there's one step.
So what's the verdict, Papa? You like this place?
Oh, I love it. It's so rustic and so like me.
So you can step onto the balcony and check it out. Lakeside view. Or is this a river? I think it's a lake.
We drove 15 minutes to downtown Chuncheon to shop for groceries, including meat to put on the barbecue.
These are to fill us up while we wait for the owner of the pension to come over and help set up a barbecue. So that's the owner.
Because I don't often get the opportunity, I insisted on being the one manning the barbecue. Carrie, the best wife ever, would make a sam and feed me every once in a while.
Finally eating. I'm finally eating. I've been eating for quite a while. I almost want to say itadakimasu, but it's the wrong word. Carrie, what's the word?
I don't know.
Huh? Oh, you don't know?
Later.
Kalmaki sumida. I hope you say that right.
Despite all the car rental drama early in the day, Chuncheon was shaping up to be a huge improvement from our time in Seoul. What made it even more special was the lunar eclipse that greeted us outside that night.
Oh no, you fell down! I caught you! Haha! I caught you!
Baby, walk under. And mommy, lie under, baby. Walk under.
We drove 45 minutes to the appropriately named Garden of Morning Calm. Found in 1996, it's a large arboretum with thousands of different species of plants. For the first time on this entire trip, we could truly appreciate the beauty of autumn in Korea, with epic views of gold, green, and red.
Look, someone's finally awake. And he's not happy.
Though he woke up really fussy, as long as we kept moving, he didn't complain too much. There was still much to explore, but those areas seemed quite far away, so we left after 2 hours. After bribing Zach with ice cream, again, we ate some delicious K-barbecue chicken. We stopped by this shop because we saw a billboard advertising some delicious looking noodles, but it actually turned out to be cheese fondue. We did get noodles in the end, makguksu made from buckwheat.
We are now at the Gapyeong rail bike. We arrived 4 minutes before they were supposed to depart. Do you like it? Is it fun? It's going so fast! Kiss Bob! Yeah, Bob!
The Gapyeong Rail Park was built on old rail tracks that offer ridiculously scenic views, and Zach seemed to actually enjoy it.
Say hi to the uncle. Annyeong!
We rode for 30 minutes, taking in the sights of the Bukhan riverbank. At the end of the line, there was a short break before we rode back to the starting station. After half a week in Korea, this was the first day we felt truly productive. Initially, we wanted to visit the Chuncheon Legoland today, but we changed our plans after our experience in Lotte World. Once again emphasizing, don't plan your trip around your toddler. Speaking of productive, I also did the fire noodle challenge, just for the heck of it.
Finished. And Carrie here can prove that I didn't drink anything while eating it.
Today, we're headed for Seoraksan, a popular mountain destination in autumn. We left the pension before 7 a.m. for an hour-and-a-half drive towards the national park. Thanks to horror stories I read online of people waiting hours for their turn on the cable car, I made sure that we got to the park early. The counter opened shortly after I got in line, and soon we were on one of the first cable cars going up the mountain. Zach, as usual, had different priorities.
You like the view, Zach? Later, Zach.
After bribing him with ice cream, again, we began our 20-minute hike up the mountain. While it looks like Zach is struggling in these videos, don't worry, 90% of the time I was carrying all 15 kilos of him. We didn't spend too much time at the top because, honestly, there wasn't too much to do. Plus, it was getting quite hot and a little crowded.
Okay. Hello. Annyeong. Zachary say annyeong. Yeah, good job.
Another thing we learned was that it's already the tail end of the autumn foliage season. If you got here 2 weeks earlier, the views would have been much more spectacular. All things considered, we really couldn't complain, especially since we had been getting good weather this entire trip. We spent another hour exploring the park, including the area surrounding a Buddhist temple. There were also hiking trails, but definitely not for us. And we left Seoraksan 3 hours after we arrived. But not before watching Zach immerse himself in the best the season had to offer.
But he's having so much fun.
We didn't do anything interesting after that, so let's fast forward to the next day.
So I'm running this morning. They have this nice cycling path right outside the pension. Don't fall in the river. So cool that as part of the cycling path, they built a special purpose bridge.
I'm not sure if it's obvious, but it was my first time running in almost a year. And I still haven't gone running since.
Wakey. Is it time to wake up?
It's our last day in South Korea, and there was one last place we wanted to visit in Chuncheon. Happy Meadow Ranch. When we got there, we were greeted by a field littered with kids' toys. Despite many of them not in working condition, Zach was quick to help himself. We tried getting Zach to pet the horse, and surprisingly he did. Too bad we didn't get it on camera. He also didn't say no to feeding the rabbits.
Say louder. Annyeong.
Annyeong.
It was a complete 180 from our time at the petting zoo.
So now you like rabbit or guinea pig?
Rabbit. Yeah. Annyeong.
We found out that BTS filmed an episode of their show in the soup here, where they tried the burger. So we had to do it as well.
The cow was slaughtered this morning. No, it wasn't. So fresh. Oh, they're not lying. The patty is just a very, very good beef patty. One big bite. Can you do it?
Climb. Use your hand and hold the rock.
Yeah, like that.
It was very satisfying seeing Zachary having fun at the ranch. This was the fearless toddler that we knew, who liked climbing everywhere and wasn't afraid of animals. And though the views at Happy Meadow was nowhere as epic as Seoraksan, I put it on our list of places to visit just so I could capture my dream shot. And it came out better than I could have ever imagined.
Hey, annyeong. This one.
I couldn't have asked for a more perfect day, and it made all the tantrums that came before worth it. After we left, we drove back into downtown Chuncheon for lunch. Of kimbap, bibimbap, and kimchi fried rice. We also did some shopping before going back to the pension, packed up and just relaxed until it was time to go to the airport.
Alright, we're saying bye to this place. It's been a fun couple of days. Really, really fun.
And that was when we learned more lessons from this trip. Our flight was at 7:45 AM, so we left Chuncheon at a little after 2. We had to fill up the tank before returning the car, but every rest stop that we went to had petrol stations that wouldn't open until 6 AM. We wasted like half an hour looking for petrol stations near the airport. And when we got to the airport, I went to the Lotte Rent-A-Car booth to return the car key, but it was not yet open. And because I didn't have a local SIM card, I got a good Samaritan to help call the hotline number that I was given. But surprise, surprise, no one answered. So I wrote an explanatory letter, left the key at the unguarded booth, and sent out an email, hoping that they would read it. Super sketchy, I know, but it's not like I had a choice. What's up, party people? I want to recap the lessons I learned on this trip and some of the things I didn't mention in the video. But before that, congrats and thank you for getting this far in the video. Let me know down below what your favorite part was, and I promise I will reply to your comment personally. Anyway, the lessons, in case you've forgotten: number 1, you're gonna give in a lot. Tantrums are kind of unavoidable, so have a strategy on how to distract your child. Toys, snacks, and so on. Number 2, your commute will take twice as long. See what I did there? Strollers can only go on elevators. You can actually find the subway entrances with elevators in Kakao Map, but we only figured out how to do it on our last day in Seoul. Also, sometimes we run into roadworks, then it becomes a bit painful trying to look for a detour while pushing a stroller. Number 3, be prepared to change your plans. We really had to be adaptable. After our experience in Lotte World, we cancelled our plans to visit Legoland Chuncheon. Thank goodness we hadn't paid for tickets. And also be prepared to fork out extra cash for changes in your plans. Number 4, plan for yourselves, not the toddler. This was probably our biggest takeaway from this trip. Avoid disappointment and just make sure you're doing what you like. Number 5, consider bringing a child seat. If we could do it all over again, we would definitely have brought our own, no question. In your case, just make sure that your car rental service has those car seats beforehand. Number 6, or is this 6? Anyway, avoid early flights if you're driving to the airport. Not all services are open 24/7. If that last station that we got to so early in the morning wasn't open, we definitely would have run out of petrol and missed our flight. Number 7, consider getting a local SIM card. There were times where it would have definitely been helpful if we had a local phone number, like when we were trying to contact Lotte Rent-A-Car. And here's the bonus lesson, lesson number 8. Extra research will never go wasted. We even ran into an issue with highway toll gates. We basically didn't know what to do at a fully automated toll gate, and then I later found out that you could have just slotted in a credit card. All this info could have been found online if you just knew what to look for. Hopefully our near misses will help you guys plan your trip there better. So that's a trip to South Korea with a kid. In a nutshell, was it worth it? If we only had our first 3 days in Seoul to go by, I would have said no. But Chuncheon and Seoraksan was so amazing that it turned the entire trip around. And I cannot stress enough how happy I was with that perfect day out at Happy Meadow Ranch. Or the fact that we were just super lucky with the weather the entire trip. And of course, a huge shout out to my wonderful wife Carrie and my awesome mum-in-law Helen for helping wrangle Zachary when I'm busy wrangling the camera. Time to plan where we should go next with my parents. Any suggestions? Let me know in the comments. Bye!